Serena, do you want to squeeze in the middle there? Over there, there's a little space for you. Or a big space for you. And just say something, and then I'll give my, I'm not allowed to have more than 1 minute. Okay? Who wants to be in charge of timing me? Okay? And I can't go over it. Okay? All right? See, what we want to do is we want to understand that our brain is neuroplastic, that every one of you have genius in there. I was not born a genius or whatever. I was average until I decided I didn't want to be average. I'm just average. I'm average looking. You know, I do okay at school. I'm just the average person. No, you're unique, and you're all unique. And your brain is neuroplastic. Means that you can reshape it, reform it, new pathways. There's no such thing, there really is, well there is, but only 1 out of 1,000. There's no such thing as your brain can't heal. How many people know that if you've got brain damage and you do things like C60, Black Diamond, and you play the music that you played when you used to love your life, and you learn something new every day, and you push yourself every day like that, that guess what? You can repair any brain damage. It actually will, if there was damage here, your brain will create a new pathway on top of it and say, we don't need this one. So when you go to a doctor or someone and they go, you know, or you take your child and, nope, they're never going to be able to, you know, be like all the rest of the kids. They don't know what they're talking about. You know, up until it was in the 1980s, can you believe this? There have been so many people come, scientists, and saying that the brain rewrites itself. You can override any damage. You are not stuck with the brain that you're stuck with, whether it was damaged or whatever it is. You can reshape it, reform it, anything you want. And understand something. Psychology refused, and they would blackball any scientist or any doctor that said they could. It was until 1986. It took 150 years of fighting. All right.
Okay.
What? Well, just somebody with a timer and they know how to do it, if they could do it. And then you can go, out of time. Okay, but just do one thing for me. Just go 10 seconds. Okay? Be fair. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? All right?
Okay.
Wait till she's ready.
Oh, man.
So when Debbie, so as soon as I start talking, I get it. Okay? All right.
Okay. A woman with breast cancer went through treatment, had her breast removed, and now she is experiencing the breast cancer returning, and she's now got her inflammation, tumors on her like shoulders or back area.
Okay, understand something, that cancer stands for conflict, contamination, and corruption. First in the mind, before in the body ever. Okay, next thing is, she got the breast cut off because it had cancer. Okay, understand something, we all have cancer cells. They're in our body from the minute we're born, and we need them. They actually keep us healthy. Understand something, she did not get cancer in the breast because of lack of surgery. Now go to my library, I Am Woman, not I Am Woman. Go watch, oh my God, the emotional what? Chemistry of cancer, disease, and healing. And that is the only study you should look at, because the medical system is totally corrupt and they cannot give you a death sentence, but they can, and the only reason why they do it is because the average person of her age only lives that long, and it's a lie. And why would you give somebody mustard gas or take a knife to them? Why don't you change their personality to change their reality and teach them how to love themselves? Bang. Okay.
A close friend's husband just been diagnosed with 4th-stage pancreas cancer. Previous to that, 6 weeks ago, I observed this young man, or this not young, he's 75 years old. I observed him. I said, something is not right with him. He's not walking right. He's not looking good. He's not. And told his wife, and I said, is he still running every day, 5 kilometers? He says, no, he's increased it to 8 kilometers. I said, he's got to stop this. 6 weeks later, went for a diagnosis. His pain was unbearable, and I recommended something to do with the perfect day diet, the perfect lifestyle. Gave him all the library, the whole book, the whole thing.
Okay, we can't keep going.
Anyway.
You can only say one thing and then move on. You can't give a story or
fourth stage pancreas
we'll be
cancer
here
right
until
now.
tomorrow. Okay, first of all, I like that you gave me the background a little bit because now I don't have to shoot in the dark. Start it. Okay, so here's the deal. Pancreatic cancer is he's never felt love. Why? Pancreas looks after insulin, which looks after sugar. So his life has never been sweet enough. He doesn't feel like people loved him enough because he doesn't love himself. Now the reality is he went from 5 miles to 8 miles running a day. Understand something. Hardcore runners die 5 to 10 years earlier. They also have, what do they have? They have runner's heart, which is full of scar tissue, crystallization, calcification. Understand something. We were meant to run how far? 3 minutes. When you run hard and fast more than 3 minutes, you're doing damage to the body. Why does a runner run? Because they want to have a high. They want the adrenaline to pump in their body and feel alive. He does not feel alive. And pancreatic cancer is hard to get rid of because there's no unconditional love. There. Okay.
Hypothyroidism.
What?
Hypothyroidism.
Hypothyroid. Well, guess what? Hypothyroid. Guess what happens? You want to know what causes hypothyroid? Anxiety. No, that's not true. Anxiety, people with anxiety, they've got lots of energy. No, they don't. They have lots of stress, okay, because it's a fight-fright. But because there's so much anxiety, the brain burns. The brain actually gets overheated and it has to shut down, so they go into depression. They keep on creating the anxiety that creates the depression. There's no such thing as depression, just brain burn. The computer's shutting down just like any other computer, okay? And now what we have to do is we have to make sure we give them iodine, infinite iodine. They need 20 sprays of infinite iodine minimum a day, and they need at least 5 sprays of infinite iodide. And that person doesn't have very good bowel movements, doesn't have very good digestion, and that person is depressed all the time and doesn't know how to smile, and find out if they have anything to live for. Next.
Early menopause.
What?
Early menopause.
Okay. Well, I don't know if there's any such thing as early menopause. I don't even know what that is. Okay, the reality is your system, the way your body reacts and the way your body works is dependent on your personality. Okay? And early menopause, well, maybe the period's slowing down because there's not enough energy anymore and they're out of balance. But the reality is there's no such thing as, there is menopause, but there is no such thing as menopausal symptoms if your bowel was working right. Because understand, why do we have our period? We have our period to get rid of the egg, to slough the egg off, and to get rid of the worst infection in the body. So in case that you get pregnant, you've got loving in the oven and your toxicity's way down so that the baby will remain healthy. That's why you have a period. That's why women live longer, are stronger. But guess what? This woman is jammed up jelly type bowel, liver. Okay, now she's got to go in and do a perfect day and do the ultimate coffee enema and cleanse that colon, cleanse that liver. And within 30 days, she has no menopausal symptoms if she's off of alcohol and inflammatory foods, and she's on the perfect day, and she does the pelvic stretches. And if she takes the what? The pelvic course, the 3-day pelvic restoration course, it's over, baby. Done. Let's go.
Gallbladder.
Gallbladder. Gallbladder is a storage tank for the liver. You don't like it? Don't care. You're going to have gallbladder problems not because you eat incorrectly first, but because of what? It stores anger. That's what the liver stores. It'll store anger. It can't store too much anger. It'll become liver cirrhosis, but first it'll become fatty liver. fatty liver, the cholesterol, and the calcium stones, because that's what a gallstone is, into the gallbladder. The reason why you have it is you got to pull the calcium from the bones to buffer down the blood, because if your blood drops in acidity too much, you go into a coma or die. The cholesterol is a normal hormone, but you're going to make more of it, because what happens is you're so acidic, you get cracks in your arteries, and we want to use the candle wax, which is called cholesterol, to goop up the cracks, because if the calcium that goes in to buffer down the acid gets in the crack, it could cause a small cut, and then you'll get a blood clot on the move, and that creates a heart attack or a stroke. And a gallbladder problem, you'll get a ton of people eating the same way, but they don't have gallbladder problems because they don't have the anger. Look up Helder Clark and do the gallbladder flush, and start doing the ultimate coffee enema, do a perfect day diet. Go.
Asthma.
Asthma. Okay, so what's the elephant that's sitting on the chest? And it's usually a child. The parents are suffocating the child and sitting on the child's chest. On a physical level, if you start getting the bowels move better, and you get them off of the inflammatory foods like the sugar, the dairy, the flour, and if you get a nebulizer and start nebulizing infinite iodine, 1 part infinite iodine to 3 parts distilled water, structured hopefully, and then you can also nebulize the silver bullet and the bright eyes 50-50. Nebulize, that'll help to clean up the lungs. But guess what? Who's in the family sitting on that child's chest and not letting them breathe? If I've got asthma, I've got breathing problem, right? So that means who's terrorizing me, because the child is hiding under the tree because the tiger's coming from them. Is it mommy and daddy, or is it both, or is it at school they're being pushed? I don't know.
Eczema.
Eczema. What crawled under your skin? What got under your skin? That's on the emotional level, but eczema and psoriasis, eczema is the baby brother, and the big brother is psoriasis. There's no such thing as disease. They're all symptoms of the body. There's no diseases. Yes, if we give it a name, we know where it is. And with the eczema, you've got to go and do the large intestine and the liver again, because that's the holy grail. Daily cleansing tea, black gold, ultimate coffee enema. Get a clapper, clap the eczema until it starts to bleed and the pus comes out. Then you get silver bullet gel, and then you get silver bullet gel, and then you get frankincense or frankinzen, okay? And you get C60, you mix them up, you put a nice thick layer on after that. You can wrap it with a saran wrap, and guess what? It's gonna fall off in a few days. But if you don't go back in and restore the leaky gut that was in the large intestine in the first place, and you wouldn't have eczema, wouldn't have psoriasis if you didn't take antibiotics, and the antibiotics changed the yeast into fungus, and the fungus was drill bit predators, made holes in your large intestine, and you pooped in yourself, and then guess what? Because your cup overflows and your skin is the reflection of your large intestine. Go.
Down syndrome.
Medical manipulation. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get into this. It's too controversial. And it's medical manipulation. And you need to understand that. It's medical manipulation. How many people here know that when we started looking after sanitation and we stopped pooping in the backyard and we put the sewer systems under the ground, okay, we stopped having 90% of the diseases. Did you know that? How many people know that when 110 years ago, when the Rockefellers gave $100 million to the AMA that was going bankrupt, they said if you can destroy 120, because there was 120 colleges and universities that taught natural medicine, if you can destroy those, which they did in 10 years, we will make you the strongest health industry in the world, and we'll give you all the money that you need. How many people know that we only have 90% of the diseases that we have today because of medical health and food industries that take the same poisons that you take called prescriptions and put them into your food? Next.
The desire to be transgender.
I don't know, were you lost when you were a teenager? When you were a teenager, You were told when you were young you had unconditional love, then it was conditional. Elle, did you have any value when you were a teenager? And if you did, it was very small. I want excitement in my life. What's going to make me unique? I want to be unique. I want to stand out. Does anybody believe that you could start an advertising campaign and get anybody to eat anything, even poop on a stick, and we'll put a little dab of chocolate and the people would suck on it? Do you actually believe that we could actually advertise and get people to go to another country and murder people? Do you actually believe that we could get people to eat 90% of the food, 90% of the time that never existed 90 years ago? When a child is lost and they're going to get some attention and maybe they'll have more emotional bliss in their life, we're lost. Go ahead. Next.
Tuberculosis.
What?
Tuberculosis.
What?
Tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis. There's no tuberculosis. Okay, I just thought there was a new disease because guess what, guys? Just so you know, there'll be a new disease every day because of new frequencies and new type of blue light poisoning and also new chemicals that they're going to put in your food and water because that's what they're doing. Tuberculosis is, I'm not going to talk about it so much as that it's on the rise again because of all the EMF, all the blue light, okay? And understand something. Okay, let me just say this much because I don't want to get into it. It can be really controversial, this one, okay? I can take a good bacteria, change the environment, and I can mutate it into a bad one. I could take a cell that's healthy and change the environment and make it into a cancer cell because it wants to survive because there's not enough oxygen, and that's what a cancer cell is. That's nothing more than that. Okay, but nobody's going to tell you that. Tuberculosis is on the way back because what? Are people getting better immune systems or worse ones? And remember something, to create tuberculosis, you just have to create the same environment that created it last time. Let me tell you something, you're going to have the same fight with your wife or your family if you create the same environment that you did the last time. Everything is frequency. There's some things I am not going to answer, and I know my time is up, but I'm not going to answer. You know why? Because guess what? Does personality overrule everything else? Yeah. You only look and feel like you do because of your personality, which isn't your personality. Why don't you just go shopping for a new one? One that lets you off the hook, one that loves you. All right.
Bipolar.
Bipolar. Oh yeah? Well, guess what? If I was on dairy, if I was on sugar, if I was on flour products, if I was insecure about myself and whether I was worthy to love, you think I might be bipolar? You think I'd bounce all over like a pinball? Okay? Let me tell you, if you don't get essential fatty acids, if you don't get the base nutrition, because to calm your brain down, you need minerals, you need vitamins, and you need antioxidants, you need fatty acids. If you're not getting that, you think your nervous system's going to blow out? There is no such thing as bipolar. Understand, if I can give you, oh, I've got bipolar disease, guess what? Now you're off the hook. Now you don't have to take any personal responsibility. You gave it over to Big Pharma. Now they're going to give you drugs, aren't they? Now you're going to get addicted to the drugs, and then someday you're going to try to get off of them, or you're only going to take stronger ones because drugs don't heal, they suppress. You could be bipolar, and if I could have 2 hours with you and you were to follow the perfect day diet, your bipolar would be gone in 6 weeks. Now what are you going to complain about? Now what are you going to get? How are you going to stand out now? At least with bipolar, I had something unique. Because understand, today, if you're a victim and you've got a new disease or something that cannot be cured, guess what? I'm special. Yeah.
Injury from the V for the C.
I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to tell you this. I'm done. Regarding the V, I'm done. okay? If you can't see the damage, then guess what? I never thought I would say this. Then you're going to get what you're going to get. And I'm not going to suffer for you. I'm not going to cry for you. I'm just not. Why do you think they call it the harvest? The majority of the population is leaving. By 2030, okay, they're not stupid. They put it out because they have stats. You know Davos? You know what they said when they're in the meeting in Davos? More people will leave this planet than all the wars put together by 2030. That's it.
My friend, she's 14. Her dad died when she was 7, and now she has scoliosis.
Now she has scoliosis. You think her life got a little bit twisted? All right? Understand, you can reverse scoliosis, you can reverse any physical condition in the body. So we could reverse it if it's not more than 9 months. If it stays longer, the longer it stays, the program that created it would... Okay, whatever you feed gets bigger. Whatever you feed gets stronger. She's been feeding the program, okay? And guess what? Every time she gets anxiety, every time she gets inflamed, the scoliosis gets worse. Why don't you ask her? Every time she goes through a period of anxiety, her scoliosis is worse. Now we got to go in there because of inflammation and scar tissue formation and calcification, and we could go in there and reverse it. She has to decide that she's going to let this go, okay? Because guess what? Do you want to know what destroyed your life or made it? What you went to bed with. It made your next day. And understand this. If you go to bed, okay, and it's a trauma, and you're a child, and you go to bed with that for a few days, you make it a prominent, dominant thought, especially if everybody else was crying at the funeral. If the mother was screaming loud, and if everybody was just, ah! And then she's 7 years old. So that dramatized into her. So now she's going to be twisted for the rest of her life until she decides to understand her father left. And she has to rewrite that story into a Braveheart story, not a trauma every time she thinks about it, because that's twisting her up.
Okay, a 30-year-old woman who had a very dysfunctional relationship with her mother.
You're going to have to speak louder.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Turn it up, please. Now, I want to say this with all the love in my heart. Every time I tell someone to speak louder, that person needs to stand prouder.
Okay. A 30-year-old woman who had a dysfunctional relationship with her mother.
We all have dysfunctional relationships with our mother until we realize that it wasn't our mother's problem. Okay? She was doing the best she could with the way she was trained, and it's this girl's responsibility to change this and end the family curse. But go ahead.
Yeah, she's been diagnosed with PMDD, and she has her stomach.
Wait, what's PMDD? I can't keep up, okay? And you know what? There's no such thing, but tell me what it is.
Okay, her stomach bloats up to like...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so what she does is that she swallowed BS, a belief system, and every time she gets emotional about this and her mother... Okay, first of all, if I sit down and I have anxiety, do I digest the food? If I can't let go because I hate my mother, where's it going to sit? I'm going to hide it in my shit because nobody's going to look for it, and because it vibrates at the same level as a manure pile, it's going to sit there. So every time I stir it up, I'm going to gas up and my stomach's going to blow up. I want to know what PDMBDD is.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? Then don't say it. Because it could stand for, what is it again? Say the first letter.
It's like...
No, first letter of it.
P.
Pigs, okay, what's the next thing?
PM.
M. Pigs, mostly.
DD.
Dig. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. Pigs mostly dig doo-doo. I get it now.
Yeah.
Understand something. Now, we've got a new drug on the market. for a new disease. You know what? Medical system, get your shit together. And you medical doctors, you know that's not true. It's all about her bacteria that is being corrupted because her mind was corrupted first. And your bacteria are the most intelligent part of your body as long as you have intelligence. Enough. You know what? What do we do with all this? I can't even keep up. You know what? The day that you hear that I quit is because I can't take it. I can't take it anymore because guess what? The majority of the population are insane. Now, I am not picking on her. Anybody, understand that. Do not give me initials to anything unless you can tell me what it stands for. Because that means you've done no research and you've just taken it blatantly. I will never do that. Be a detective. Yes?
It stands for premenstrual dysfunction disorder.
Premenstrual dysfunction disorder. Okay, you want to know what that is? There is no premenstrual dysfunction disorder unless you're constipated. Pooping in the pelvis, and on an emotional level, I can't let go. And if you're talking about menstrual, you're talking about birth, you're talking about mother, everything's kind of connected emotionally. I get it. But the reality is there is no disorder, there's just dysfunctional beliefs. If we got her on the perfect day diet, and if she could learn to start sending love to her mother, she never has to go visit her again if she's going to argue with her. Just send love, let it go. Know that your mother did her best. That's it. Guess what? This woman, if not married or has children, is doing the same thing. Because you cannot curse your mother without cursing the future. But understand something. They're going to give us initials. And we're never going to ask what it is, right? Arthritis, inflammation of the joint. If I say, oh my God, you've got a really bad case of arthritis. What do I do, doctor? Now, if he said to you, listen, you've got inflammation in your joint, you'd say, how do I work with it? But if I'm going to spit something out that is Greek terminology that nobody speaks anymore, right away, BS baffles brains. Next.
I think you said the so-called scoliosis can be reversed if it's found within 9 months?
I never said that.
No,
I said if you've been diagnosed with scoliosis and nobody can help you within 9 months, you birth a new personality. How long does it take to birth a baby? 9 months?
9 months.
You birth a new personality, and that is as well. If the brilliant minds out there, the medical doctors and the specialists don't know what to do, then I need to live with this. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They are never going to fix people. Didn't anybody ever notice that the medical system doesn't fix people? All right? They say, come to us when you're broken, and we'll shut you the hell up. Did they say anything else? We don't need to talk. Let me see, what do you got? Oh, I got this? Okay. Oh, you got that? Oh, that's way beyond me. I'm just a GP. Let me send you to a specialist that he is authorized to give you even more toxic, dangerous drugs. Oh, let me send you to a specialist that is authorized to say, let's chop that out. Let's radiate that. Let's burn it out. Do whatever you want. Like me, don't like me. Don't really care. Okay? All right? All I know is that Lori and I are going to go swimming tonight. That's it. Next.
Inflammation in my joints.
Arthritis and inflammation in your joints. You're still dehydrated. You're not doing essential fatty acids. You should be doing 10 of the ocean essentials twice a day, even though you're small. You need to lubricate the joints. If I wanted to open up a door that won't open, should I WD-40 it? Okay, so you should also be doing C60. You should also be doing structured water with black diamond in it. Your biggest thing is dehydration. You're like a plant that you hated all your life. You never ever drank water. And are you clapping to beat the band? Are you doing a sand glow every day? A salt glow, sand glow? Out there doing a sand scrub? And what are you doing to up your circulation? Everything is about circulation. And because you have so much dehydration, you have bad circulation. So now we got to get rid of the crystallization and put the calcification back into the bones. And we got to make sure that every joint is loosey-goosey, and I got the groove. That's it. Next.
What can be causing numbness in the fingers every morning when the person wakes up?
You know, I'm just really happy that the next class, there's only 12 in the class. This is the hall. What is the what? Numb? Oh,
yeah,
right here.
numb.
Terrorism. Take a look. Their shoulders are always up. They're always on their toes. And understand, there's a knot here and a knot here. This is called brachial plexus. Every time they stress out, this swells, puts pressure on the brachial plexus, and numbs it out. Now, if that happens for more than 9 months, we get crystallization happening down here. You can't keep cutting the circulation off here, okay, without causing inflammation here, which will cause calcification, crystallization, and scar tissue. Okay, you cannot chokehold something, okay, and expect it to be balanced. And the more it happens, the more disintegration will happen in this area, because it's oxygen, it's blood flow, it's lymph flow, it's your spirit running into every cell.
Done.
Missing periods and hormonal imbalance.
Well, missing periods is your life. How is it being a roller coaster, being up and down and up and down? You know what that does to your hormones? How is it that when you're up and down and you stress the living crap out of yourself, and your body says, look, you're going to miss a period because we need energy over here because you're in crisis. And what else? Oh, Bob, you don't have the hormonal imbalance. You're a bloody terrorist. You terrorize yourself 24/7. That's why you got migraines. And understand, you can't have migraines and have hormonal balance. Because when you have a migraine, that means that you are so acidic, okay, that you're going into dehydration, and you've got brain burn, and your computer shuts down, and you also suffer from depression. How are we doing? I don't need to say more. I know who it was, or is, but will not be anymore, because she's a beautiful Braveheart goddess.
Strabismus in a 3-year-old.
I don't know what that is.
It's a lazy eye.
Then why don't you say it? Do you really think that you sound intelligent?
No, that's what the doctor told me it was.
1 second. Do you think you're more intelligent than me? You're not. You've been stupefied. So anyways, you could get that little girl Tesla glasses, C60. Okay? You could get her to start doing clapping with you. You could do non-surgical on her occiput. How many people know these are called the upper eyes? When you work on the upper eyes here, they actually affect your eyes. You can see clear. If I work on anybody's occiput, you're going to go, oh wow, I can read way over there. Okay, so understand something. Eyesight goes when you're young because of anger. How's mommy and daddy doing? What? And then depending on what side of the eye, whether it's the right or the left, will depend on, oh, mommy. Mommy. All right.
Multiple myeloma, blood disease.
Well, it's actually, everything is a blood disease. So see, everything's a blood disease. It had to get into the blood before it could get to where it needed to go. And depending where it's going to end up will depend on the different prominent, dominant belief systems that come together that create the magic belief that turns on something or turns it off. And multiple myeloma is actually growths. They're growths all over the body. So I have a medical doctor. You'll see his testimonial. He came and took our course. All right? He had over 150 of them in his body. Yeah. They're storage tanks, my friend. Okay? So he fasted those away, and he actually came and took our course 3 times. It took him 3 times to get rid of them. And, you know, he would get rid of a bunch doing an advanced water fast, and then they'd come back, because even though he brought up his vibration for healing, his personality didn't change. And he was an oncologist. Okay.
30-year-old had trouble getting pregnant. Previously diagnosed with onset rheumatoid arthritis. She's now 8 weeks pregnant, but has a 24/7 feeling of throwing up and a constant burning stomach.
You already know. You already know. She should have did therapeutic vomiting before she even had this child. And the reality is, she needs to take a look at her diet right now and get off of all inflammatory things and stay away from her inflammatory family members. And she needs to get her bowels moving better. She can't go into any deep cleansing right now. But just know this, that fetus is right now sitting in the barbecue. If you want, no, we're running out of time. If we had more time, I'd tell you to bring her on. We'd do a live consult just to help her. We could help her, you know. We could help her to help herself. We don't cure anyone. There are no cures. There's just alterations in your personality.
SIDS.
What?
SIDS. Sudden, what the hell is that? Sudden.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. Most of the time it's because of the V. I won't tell you all the time. I'd want to know the specific condition. This is really personal. You want to know something else? Bring the baby home. Put the baby in a crib. And then have the transformer on the outside wall right there. That's enough. That would be enough. I'm going to tell you a story in a second here. How can I help you? Hello? Hello? Wait. Okay, so there's a master practitioner in Canada. And his daughter would be in the crib, and they'd go in, and she'd have a big bump on her head from banging into the crib. Didn't think anything of it. It's healing. Goes in. You ready for this? Another bump on this side. Looks like this little child has been abused. He goes, what's going on here? We don't want to keep her in the crib. We want to keep her in our bed. I said, let's figure it out. It took me a couple minutes. Transformer for the house was on the other side of the wall, and the crib was up beside it. They moved her to another bedroom. Never happened again. So I want you to think about something. That's a beautiful new spirit coming in. Her higher self felt the transformer. She bangs her head because only physical things are actually going to get mommy and daddy to wake up. Bumped head, don't know why. Well, if I bump my head again, but the child doesn't think this consciously. This is super consciously. And I explained that to the father. And he says, oh my God. And you know, he almost went in tears. And I said, yes, you have an enlightened being, and never forget it.
I'm just wondering about
extra nutraceuticals after you've lost your appendix to replace what my appendix
Well,
used to do.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is to have a toned core, to be a lean, keen, sexy machine. That's first. That's it. And before we do that, we need to have somebody go in and work where the scar is. Surgery causes more scar tissue than anything else. So they've got to go in and take that apart. But today what I'll do is I'll go in and see if they left anything. Okay? And then what you got to do is you got to do daily cleansing tea and black gold twice a day. And then guess what you got to do? You got to say no to him every time he wants to cheat. And he's got to say no to you every time you want to cheat. And the two of you have gotten too comfortable with not saying no. How am I doing?
Yeah.
Okay. You were supposed to say yes.
My friend's
I love
daughter.
You guys. And you know what I got to tell you? Your dancing has come a long way, Stan.
My friend's daughter is 14 years old and she has ocular myasthenia.
Okay, so it's something with her eyesight, right? Help me out.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Well, then why don't you ask Siri, because Siri works for them. We'll come back to you. Give me the definition. Understand everything right now. Oh, wait a minute. Dr. Wolf is a fraud. He can't be a doctor. He's not up on anything. He doesn't know anything. That's right. I don't want to know the new names, the new drugs, because guess what? Faith, belief, teamwork, not manipulation. The medical system is only there for crisis management.
Cysts on the scalp. They have them removed, more comes. Constant vicious cycle.
Well, a cyst is just a sacket of pus. And if it's on the head, what does it say about their brain? Hello? Hello? This here is the end result of this here. Because you're not working from in here. Coming up through here first to here. Don't come here first. And also, you know damn well they're not eating right. You know they're not thinking right. Yeah, and it's probably one of your best friends because before you got here, you were a disaster, trying to kill yourself. So I know that your friends are still trying to kill themselves. So don't try to change them. Don't even talk to them. Just love them. They already know what you're doing. And the last thing they want you to do is open up your mouth when they're busy trying to kill themselves. You might think about that.
High blood pressure.
Well, first of all, high blood pressure is just a symptom. Nobody dies from it. You can have high blood pressure from not going to the bathroom. You can have high blood pressure because you have anxiety. You can control your blood pressure if you were to control your personality. If you were to have love in your heart, you'd never have high blood pressure again. You only have high blood pressure because you react and attack.
I don't.
I know that. I'm not. Yeah. You only have high blood pressure because of sugar and dairy, because of drugs. What causes high blood pressure? High blood pressure medication. As soon as you come off it, it goes through the roof. It actually does the opposite. So as long as you take it, you bring down your blood pressure, but you also bring down your spirit, you bring down your circulation, and you're going to get plaque build up in your heart and your arteries. You're also going to get constipation problems because that drug brings your spirit down. And understand something. If I have a hose, no, I took a breather. I get a little bit more. You could be a little nice and you could cheat a little. Next time that I deal with you, it's not going to be nice. Okay, so if I turn on a hose, so much volume of the water is going to come out so fast. If I step on the hose, the same amount of water has to come through faster. That's high blood pressure. Get the cork out of your ass. Okay? Start breathing. Start drinking water. So if I've got a river and we're throwing garbage into it and I don't put water in there, is it going to get clogged up? My God, there's such basic things. Such basic things. How about letting go? How about letting go on an emotional level, on a physical level, and then get back to flow? There's always going to be big waves, but guess what? You'll be able to ride them when you stay connected to your breath.
Thank you.
We're done. We made it. And thank you. All right. Do we need a break or should we keep rolling? Oh, yeah, Tracy. All you had to do was just go and ask Siri. Siri's always willing to tell you what you're dying from.
It's ocular myasthenia gravis.
Okay, let's be quick. Do you want to give it to me? Now, who feels stupid? Nobody should. I bet you there's people in here that go, oh my God. Well, we're back to the same old thing. What if you were to actually use infinite iodine, which gets rid of all infection, and you're actually to spray that in your eye, or you did a little eye cup of it? What if you were to actually do the silver bullet liquid and the fulvic and pull the heavy metals out? What if you were to go and put in 80 micronutrients into the eyeball? That's what that does. What if you were to go and wear Tesla glasses so that the blue light doesn't destroy the eyes or the brain? What if you were to get a bioptron? I mean, we've seen all that eye disorders turn around. All of them. Parents are meant to know nothing so that their children can be set up for a lifetime of drugs. And that's the truth of it. All right. Thanks for joining us. Let's shut down the live. We're going to do a little bit of non-surgical here. Okay, thank you.